reversed and backed away from the suspect. Ortiz shot through the windshield and shot out the back window while the officer was ducking for cover. So the officer is ducking for cover and backing up all at the same time. The officer was cut with glass when the windshield and the back window shattered. I spoke with the officer at Tampa General Hospital shortly after, and he explained to me he could actually hear the bullets whizzing past his head as he ducked for cover during this time. So as he pulls in behind the car, that's when Ortiz gets out and just starts opening fire on him. The timeline of the events that occurred last week is that we received a complaint of the suspect who pointed a gun at two people on Braddock Street. We learned that two people were shot on West Shore Boulevard under the I-275 overpass. Both were taken to the hospital. 3 people were reported shot at while traveling on the Courtney Campbell Causeway. A caller reported the suspect firing an assault rifle out of his car window near Hines in Hillsborough. A driver saw Ortiz shoot at the car and followed Ortiz to Sly Avenue and North Boulevard, where the suspect then fired 3 to 5 shots at him and his car. When our officer encountered Ortiz at 43rd and Hillsborough, that's when the policeman pulled behind him on 43rd Street. When Ortiz noticed him, he pulled his car off to the side of the road, stepped out with 2 guns, and opened fire on the police officer. After he shot at our officer, he fled to a nearby apartment building where he was quickly taken into custody. And I want to thank Sheriff Chad Chronister and the men and women of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. They were out there with us, assisted in taking him into custody. I think it's important that people realize that these are 2 agencies that work very close together, and I appreciate Sheriff Chronister and his deputies for their assistance. I'm about to show you a video of the officer who was just shot at, being checked out, and then going back into the apartment complex to face danger and stop this guy before anyone could be hurt. And I think it's important to know when the officer goes to start this traffic stop, he already knew that this man had shot at other people. He willingly put himself in danger to stop this man from hurting someone else. These are the 2 officers up front. You can see the officer bleeding on his left arm.
This looks like it's glass. All right, you're okay now. Let's go.
So what you see is one officer patting down the officer who was in the car and had been shot at. And he's bleeding in his left arm. And what happens, he pats him down to see if he had any further injuries, and then he tells him, let's get back in the fight, bro, let's go. And that's what our cops do. I mean, that is guardian of the city at its finest. And you look at what we recovered from him. These are some of the guns. We have ammunition, drugs from inside his car. We got $6,600 in cash, 170 grams of heroin, 282 grams of what is likely to be fentanyl, and we had 35 grams of marijuana. This suspect was a dangerous person, running rampant around our city and county, threatening to shoot and kill anyone in his path. Our officers risked their lives to get him off the streets and protect our community. But this is the concern that our officers deal with. This is the concern that I have as chief of police. You know, our country, in the midst of a mental health crisis and gun violence, are the 2 biggest threats that I see facing our country and facing our community right now. When you couple mental health issues and gun violence, it's a deadly mixture. Does anybody have any questions?
What was the motive?
You know, we're still trying to figure that out. It looks like it might have been domestic related. I'm not sure why he was shooting at other cars, though.
When you say domestic related, mean that he had a fight of some kind at home with a wife or a girlfriend and went out and took his anger out on her.
Yeah, it would appear he was going through some type of mental health crisis maybe for the last few weeks, and then this just kind of, something happened to really push him over the edge, so to speak.
Is he diagnosed with a mental illness?
That I don't know, and that will obviously have to be looked at.
Chief, do you know if he had more sinister plans to have all those weapons?
Not that we're aware of, but he did have clearly a large number of weapons. We're still under review as to where he got them and how he got them.
Was he familiar to the department at all? Did he have a record with you guys?
We're not familiar with him.
And can you speak a little bit more about the officer? Are you able to reveal his name, how long he's been on the force?
He's a young officer. He's I want to say 24, 25 years old. He's been on the force 11 months. I met with him. He's a very young, energetic guy. You saw the strength and courage. You can just imagine when you have bullets from an assault rifle whizzing past your head, you're backing up and ducking for cover. Bullet holes through the front windshield and the entire back windshield was shot out. But he was fine when I met with him at the hospital. I have talked to him since then, and he's doing good.
I realize it's easy for me to say this a week later, having the benefit of looking back at something, but did he follow procedure in stopping a vehicle that may have been involved in something and all the other different things that you guys do to make sure that you're safe when there's a suspect who may have done something very dangerous?
No, that's a good question. It's a fair question, but the issue is as cops, we have to do something. And this is the sacrifice that police officers make. He knew the dangers of trying to pull this person over because he had already shot at several other people, but we just don't have a choice of not interceding. And so, that's the thing that makes, that's why we call ourselves the guardians of the city, where we're willing to knowingly put ourselves in harm's way to prevent someone else from being shot.
So he was cut by the glass.
Well, that's what we think. We're not sure whether he got grazed by a bullet, hit by a bullet, or cut by glass. Now that we were able to have him checked out at the hospital and speak to doctors, we think he was cut by the glass in the car as the windows exploded.
But the charge, I think at the time it was attempted first-degree murder on a law enforcement.
Yeah, there's no doubt he was trying to kill him. Yeah, there's no doubt he was trying to kill him. And if he was maybe a better shot, we might be attending a funeral instead of a press conference. And that's not being dramatic. I was there and saw the bullet holes through the front windshield and saw the back window shut up. Okay?
Can we ask you a quick question about the blue and black mural? What's the latest?
Oh, sure. The mural, the Back to Blue mural outside. So it was done last Sunday. There was no approval for that, so that's under investigation. The other night there was some paint, some tar thrown on it, and then they put some inappropriate words on spray painted the police building. So that's all under a criminal investigation. We're reviewing it, and we'll decide later whether we think it rises to the level of criminal charges.
Is it disappointing to know that there are people out there who want to support you guys and then other people come in and they deface that?
The thing that is this is a country based upon protest and freedom of speech. What's disappointing to me is that people are arguing over murals instead of realizing we've got major problems in our city. And I'm not downplaying any of the civil rights issues right now, but murals are not part of civil rights, in my opinion. But everybody's entitled to their First Amendment speech, and it doesn't matter who they're backing, who they're not. But I'm worried more about the real problems of what's going on, and I have to be careful because my words will get twisted. I'm not saying any of that stuff are not real problems, but I'm more worried about the gun violence as opposed to who painted a mural and who didn't. Yes?
To be clear, you're not disclosing the name of the officer who was injured?
No, not right now.
Can you say how he's doing right now and back at work?
He's back at work. What we do is when an officer is involved in that traumatic type situation, they do have to go see the psychologist, go through some testing. He'll have a 45-day follow-up. That's mandatory procedure. But he's back at work. I've spoke to him a couple times, and he's in good. He's fine.
Did you offer him a chance to speak today? Did he want to?
Yeah, I think he just, he's a little shy and not comfortable with it.
So he's back on the beat, or is he on?
Yeah, he's back on the job.
Just duty or in the field?
He's in the field.
Do you see that as sort of remarkable? 1 week ago today, he was dealing with somebody shooting at him, and he's already back at work.
Yeah, well, what I really find remarkable, that's why I thought it was compelling to show the video, that just seconds after being shot at, and everybody realizes, oh, I'm okay, it's just I just cut, and they go right back into the fight and go looking for the bad guy. But that's the heroic efforts that cops do every day. It just goes unnoticed. Alrighty, thank you.